Hello everyone, today Thanh continues to tell 5 stories about life. Please listen. Story 191. Light in the snow. In a small village nestled between the snow-capped mountains, where light only flickers through the long winter days, a girl named Ellen lives. Her days are the same. She wakes up before the sun rises, goes to work at a cozy village cafe, and returns to her small house when night falls. Although Ellen's job is not anything special, she still feels peaceful and content with this simple life. One morning, when the snow began to fall heavily, Ellen on her way to the cafe met Magnus, a carpenter who had just moved to the village. He stood next to a horse-drawn carriage, holding a wooden barrel in his hand. When Ellen approached, they looked at each other and smiled. "Hello, I'm Magnus. I'm new here, but I'm not used to this cold yet," Magnus said with a smile, his breath rising like smoke. Ellen looked at him, a little surprised by the friendliness of a stranger in the village. "Hello, it's cold, isn't it?" "No, I'm Ellen, working at a nearby coffee shop." After a short conversation, Ellen invited Magnus into the coffee shop to warm up. Magnus didn't refuse, and from then on, they started seeing each other regularly. Magnus helped Ellen repair things in the coffee shop, while she was the one who brought him into the warm world of cold winter mornings. One afternoon, after the shop closed, Ellen and Magnus walked together under the white snow that covered all the roads. In contrast to the quiet and cold atmosphere of winter, they found warmth in each other's presence. Have you ever thought that happiness is sometimes not big things, but small moments like this? Magnus asked when they stopped by a snow-covered pine tree. Ellen smiled, her eyes following the slowly falling snowflakes. Yes, happiness can be warm evenings by the fire, or snowy mornings outside the window. Happiness can be just being with someone when it's cold, just that. They continued to walk in silence, feeling the stillness of winter. Such simple moments gradually became an indispensable part of both of their lives. They didn't need big parties or far-flung trips to find joy, just sharing hours together in the cold of Northern Europe, watching the houses twinkling under the lights and listening to the wind rustling through the branches. Lesson: happiness doesn't always lie in great achievements, but sometimes comes from small and simple moments in everyday life. Enjoying simple things, like a walk in the snow, can bring deep joy and peace of mind.
Story 192. Chiara's journey. Chiara is a young woman living in a big city, where tall buildings are crowded together and the streets are never empty. She is a professional in the field of web design, and although her job is very busy and has a stable income, Chiara always feels that something is missing in her life. She loves her job, but sometimes she feels that it lacks a deep meaning, a real connection with people. One day, while working at her favorite coffee shop, Chiara accidentally meets Max, an old friend from college. Max is a freelance photographer, passionate about creativity but lacking a clear direction in his work. He always feels confused when making important decisions in his career. "Chiara, long time no see. How have you been?" Max smiled, his eyes full of enthusiasm. "I'm fine, my work is still regular, but there are times when I feel confused. What about you?" Chiara replied, smiling slightly. "Still the same, still wandering around with the camera. But I'm thinking about learning more about marketing to sell my photos more effectively. But I don't know where to start." Chiara looked at Max, remembering their old classes together. She had always been an inspiration to Max in her design presentations, so she thought she could help him find his way. "If you want, I can show you how to build your personal brand online. I know some pretty simple marketing tools and strategies that you can start trying," Chiara said, her eyes filled with hope. Max was a little surprised, but then agreed. "Really, thank you so much. I don't know where to start." Over the next few weeks, Chiara spent time guiding Max on how to build a personal website, how to use basic SEO tools, and how to optimize social media posts. She helped him create his best photos and share them effectively, making them accessible to more people. Max began to see positive changes in his work. He received more contracts and even had some photo exhibition opportunities. Every time Max achieved a new step, Chiara felt happy and proud. She realized that by sharing what she knew, she was not only helping Max improve, but also seeing a part of herself growing. The feeling of satisfaction and fulfillment came from seeing the people around her grow, and that made her realize that her work was not just about creating beautiful websites, but also about creating real value for the community. One evening, as they sat down for coffee and looked back at Max's achievements, he smiled. "Thank you, Chiara. You not only helped me do my job well, but also helped me understand that everything can start with small steps, but it is important to share and learn from those around me." Chiara smiled, her eyes filled with satisfaction. Sometimes, sharing what you know is a way to help yourself grow. Lesson sharing knowledge not only helps others learn and grow, but is also a way for us to grow and contribute to the development of the community. When you help others progress, you not only enrich their lives, but also create a chain of spreading values, helping both you and others find meaning and joy in work.
Story 193: A Warm Winter. Lena is a young girl living in a small town in Western Europe, where the streets are lined with sparkling lights during the Christmas season. She works at a media company, where the work never seems to stop. Christmas is approaching, but Lena feels exhausted. Work keeps piling up, and she feels like she's losing energy, even when the Christmas lights are shining everywhere. One winter afternoon, as the cold wind blows through the windows, Lena sits in her apartment, looking out at the snow-covered streets. She sighs, feeling so tired and worried about everything. She realizes that she has never taken the time to rest, to truly relax and take care of herself during the past year. At that moment, the doorbell rings. Lena opens the door and sees Mark, her longtime best friend, standing outside with a large gift box in his hands. "Merry Christmas, Lena." Mark smiled brightly, his eyes warm. Lena smiled, but her eyes still reflected fatigue. Mark noticed it and gently asked, "Are you okay? You look so tired lately." Lena nodded, then she laughed softly, her voice a little weak. "Yes, I feel exhausted lately. Too much work, without any time to rest." Mark looked at her for a moment and said, "You know, no one can keep running forever without stopping to recharge. Christmas is a great time to put everything aside and take care of your spirit. I think you need a real vacation." Lena looked at Mark, her eyes shining with surprise. She never thought of allowing herself to rest, because she always thought that work was the top priority. But Mark's words made her think. Mark smiled, pulled Lena out the door and said, "Come with me. We'll walk around town, drink some hot chocolate, and enjoy the Christmas atmosphere. You'll definitely feel better." Lena didn't know why she immediately agreed, but she felt that this was exactly what she needed. The two of them walked down the street lined with Christmas lights, where large Christmas trees were decorated and people were shopping for the holidays. The sparkling lights reflected in Lena's eyes, and she felt a strange warmth invade her heart. They stopped at a small cafe, where happy laughter rang out, and Mark ordered Lena a cup of hot chocolate. As the warm ceramic cup was handed to her, Lena felt relaxed with each sip. Mark said, "Christmas isn't just about making gifts or getting things done. Sometimes, the most important thing is to stop and allow yourself to feel everything around you." Lena sat quietly, feeling these peaceful moments. She realized that these past few days, she had been so absorbed in her work that she had forgotten to take care of herself. In fact, she only needed a little time to relax and recharge, and she could do everything better. When evening fell, they returned to Lena's house. Before saying goodbye, Mark said, "Remember, sometimes rest is the most important thing. Taking care of your spirit helps us have enough strength to face all challenges." Lena smiled, feeling relieved and grateful. She understood that Christmas is not only a time to give gifts, but also an opportunity to take care of yourself, relax and find balance in life. Lesson: taking care of your spirit is extremely important. Taking time to relax and recharge not only helps you avoid burnout, but also helps you stay creative, active and feel happier. Sometimes you need to pause and enjoy the little moments so you can continue the long journey ahead. Quote.
Story 194. Last year with him. Winter in Seoul always brings a gentle beauty, but also a cold one. The bustling streets under the yellow lights are hurriedly preparing for the holiday season, while the warm cafes become ideal destinations for those looking for a little peace. Ji-woo, a young girl working at a media company, feels the tranquility of the end of the year as she sits in her favorite cafe, looking out the window at the light snow falling. This year, Ji-woo has experienced many events. She has a deep love relationship with Minho, a boy she considers the only one. They have been in love since college and together have outlined many plans for the future. However, when entering a challenging year, the differences between the two gradually reveal themselves. Minho is a person with big dreams and a thirst for success, but sometimes he is too focused on work, to the point of neglecting his feelings. Ji-woo, the evenings they no longer spent together, the promises that were never fulfilled made Ji-woo feel lost. In the end, they decided to break up, not because they didn't love each other, but because of irreconcilable differences. For the whole year, Ji-woo suffered and thought a lot about her decision. However, during a year-end meeting with her close friends, she suddenly realized that she could learn a lot from the people around her. One of them, Hyejin, Ji-woo's best friend from college, was someone who always made wise decisions in life. Hyejin never rushed into love or work. She was always calm and thought carefully before making any decisions. Ji-woo, are you okay? Hyejin asked, looking at her kindly. Ji-woo just smiled lightly, saying nothing. But then, Hyejin continued to tell her own story. She had once loved a man who was very passionate about his work, just like Minho, and almost neglected herself in that relationship. But Hyejin learned a lesson from her friends and decided to break up before things went too far. You know, sometimes, what we have to learn is not from our own mistakes, but from the mistakes of others. I was once in a relationship like yours, and finally realized that, without a balance between love and work, life would lack true meaning. Hyejin said softly, but with determination. Hyejin's words were like a ray of light shining into Ji-woo's mind. She realized that she had been too caught up in her emotions and hopes for a future that she could not control. She had not clearly seen that loving someone does not mean sacrificing yourself, but understanding and accepting the other person's differences. During the rest of the year, Ji-woo spends time reflecting on her life decisions. She learns that instead of continuing to live in her own mistakes, listening and observing the lessons of others is the way for her to grow and avoid unnecessary consequences. On New Year's Eve, as fireworks light up the sky, Ji-woo stands by the window, looking out. And smiling, she knows that she is ready for a new start, learning from the mistakes of others, so as not to face the same consequences as before. Lesson: learning from the mistakes of others is an effective way to grow and avoid making wrong decisions in the future. Observing and learning from the experiences of those around us helps us realize our own weaknesses, and from there make wiser decisions in life, not only from our own mistakes, but also from the valuable lessons of others.
Story 195. Promise. Under the city sky on a gentle summer afternoon, in the heart of bustling Singapore, Arya stood by the window looking out. This city, with its tall buildings, bustling streets, and lush gardens, always made her feel both strange and familiar. This was the place she chose to start a new life after leaving her hometown. Working at a famous advertising company helped Arya build a solid career, but there was still one thing she felt was lacking: love. After a long time of working non-stop, She realized that she no longer had time to meet or take care of herself, and could not pay attention to the relationships around her. Then one day, everything changed when she met Ethan, a man with a plain appearance, but his eyes were always full of enthusiasm and passion. They met for the first time one evening at a small coffee shop, where Aria unexpectedly encountered a tragic situation. She accidentally spilled her coffee on his luxurious clothes. "Sorry, I really didn't mean to," Aria stuttered, bowing her head in apology. Ethan just smiled and said, "It's okay, I think this is a great way for us to get to know each other." Just a joke, and the smile made Aria feel comfortable. They started talking, sharing about work, dreams and aspirations in life. Their relationship developed naturally from there, like a breath of fresh air in Aria's life. Everything was going well until Ethan made a promise. He would join Aria on a trip around Southeast Asian countries, where they would both discover new things and have unforgettable memories. His promise made Aria feel happy and excited, but then her work pulled her into the cycle of big projects. A few months later, as the time for the trip approached, Aria found herself too busy to keep her promise to Ethan. She worried that the trip would be a burden and might affect her work. During a phone conversation, she told Ethan, "Honey, I don't think this trip is possible. I'm too busy and really don't have time. We'll have to cancel it." Ethan's voice dropped, but he patiently replied, "You promised me, Aria. I understand that your work is important, but you promised to go with me. A promise is a bond between us, and if you don't keep it, it will take away a part of us." Aria felt her heart sink. She looked back at herself and realized that, no matter how important the work was, the promise she made to Ethan could not be ignored. She understood that keeping a promise is not only a responsibility to others, but also building trust and respect in a relationship. Immediately, Aria decided to rearrange her work and go on the trip with Ethan as promised. During the journey, they not only discovered new places, but also discovered a lot about each other and themselves. The promise became a bridge connecting the two, helping them understand each other better and making their love stronger. Lesson: keeping a promise is one of the most important ways to build trust in a relationship. A promise is not only a responsibility to others but also a respect for ourselves. When we keep our promises, we not only demonstrate our trustworthy character, but also build long-lasting, strong, and meaningful relationships. Thank you for listening. Goodbye and see you in the next short stories about life.